High above the desert plain, the sun glows like molten gold. Dust drifts over a busy city rising from the sand. The city of Shinar. Children run between stacks of clay bricks, their laughter mixing with the clang of hammers. In the middle of it all stands Nimra, with messy dark hair and curious brown eyes that sparkle like sunlight on water. "Lena," he calls, waving his hand. "Come see this." Lena, a girl with curly golden hair and freckled cheeks, runs over, eyes wide. Before them stands a massive foundation of smooth stone. Men and women shout and cheer. "We'll build a tower that touches the heavens." The words echo like thunder through the air. Nimra whispers, "Do you think we really can?" Lena tilts her head, thinking, "But will God be happy about that?" The ground rumbles softly as a new brick is placed. For a moment, the noise fades, replaced by the hush of wind whispering across the sand, like a question only heaven can answer. Could people really build something taller than their hearts were ready for? The next morning, a horn echoes through Shinar. Everyone gathers around the tower's base as the first great stone is lifted into place. Nimra watches, breath held as ropes creak and dust billows in the sunlight. "It's really happening," he whispers. Lena clutches his arm, eyes wide with excitement and a hint of fear. "It's so heavy. What if it falls?" she asks softly. Elder Tarek steps forward, his voice deep and proud. "We will build higher than any cloud. Our names will never be forgotten." The people cheer. But in the cheering, Lena's quiet voice almost disappears. "What if we forget who gave us the sky?" she murmurs. The wind stirs, carrying her words away. Nimra looks at her, thoughtful, as a bird circles above the rising stone, small against the growing dream of men. Days turn to weeks. The tower grows taller, scraping at the clouds. Nimra lies awake one night on the sand beside Lena, both staring up at the stars. "Do you think," Nimra whispers, "that if we build high enough we can touch one of them?" Lena shakes her head slowly. "Stars belong to God, Nimra. Maybe they don't want to be touched." A faint hum of wind passes over the tower in the distance, low and haunting, like a song. "But what if," Nimra wonders, "God wants to see what we can do?" Lena rolls onto her side, her voice barely a whisper. "Or what if he's waiting to see what we'll choose?" The tower glimmers faintly in the moonlight, both beautiful and unsettling, like a dream too bright to hold. By midday, the tower pierces the clouds. Elder Tarek climbs the scaffolding, his cloak whipping in the wind. Below, workers chant his name. He shouts, "We are the builders of heaven. Nothing can stop us now." The crowd roars with pride. Nimra claps weakly, unsure. He glances at Lena, who stares at the tower's peak, disappearing into the mist. "It's beautiful," Nimra says. Lena shakes her head. "It's loud," she says softly. "Like thunder before rain." High above, Tarak raises his hands to the sky. For a brief moment, lightning flashes behind the clouds, and everyone cheers, not realizing it's a warning. The wind howls through the half-finished bricks, like a whisper of something waiting to speak. That night, silence covers the city. Only the rustle of wind moves between the stones. Nimra walks near the base of the tower, holding a small clay lamp. The flame flickers as he hears a soft voice, not from anyone nearby, but from everywhere at once. "Why do they build without me?" He freezes. The lamp shakes in his hand. The wind rises suddenly, circling the unfinished tower, scattering dust like golden mist. "Who said that?" Nimra whispers. But no one answers. Lena runs up, her curls wild in the wind. "Did you hear it too?" she gasps. They stare at the tower, its shadow stretching endlessly under the moonlight. The flame in Nimra's lamp steadies. a tiny glow against the giant darkness. In that stillness, he understands something deep in his heart. God's voice is not angry, it's sad. The tower stands taller than ever. The air smells of clay and smoke. From every street, people talk only about one thing, the tower. Nimra and Lena weave through crowds carrying baskets of straw. Everyone's working so hard, Nimra says proudly. A man nearby shouts, "When it's done, no one will need to pray. We'll reach heaven ourselves." Lena stops walking. Reach heaven? Without God? Her words are soft, but they seem to freeze the air. Elder Tarak strides past them, his voice booming. "We are strong enough now. The sky will know our names." The people cheer louder. Nimra looks at Lena uneasily. Something about their cheers feels wrong. Like a song that starts sweet but ends in thunder. Above them, the tower groans under its own weight as wind whirls between the bricks. Hammers strike, ropes creak, voices rise in rhythm. The builder's song fills the sky. Stone upon stone, higher we climb, they chant. Nimra works beside older builders, his face streaked with sweat and clay. He smiles, proud to help, but as he looks up, the tower's shadow covers him completely. Lena calls from below, "Nimra, come down, you're too high." He laughs, waving from the scaffolding. "It's safe, I can almost touch the clouds." Then, his laughter fades as he sees a tiny bird caught in the wind, unable to fly against the tower's wall. It flaps helplessly, then disappears into the mist. For the first time, Nimra feels something deep inside. A twist of fear. What if they were building something that even the birds couldn't understand? That evening, Elder Tarak walks through the half-built city, inspecting the work. Lena gathers courage and steps forward. "Sir, are we sure this is what God wants?" she asks. Tarak stops, his eyes sharp. "Child, God gave us hands to build and minds to dream. Why should he stop us?" Nimra watches from behind a pillar, feeling both proud and confused. Lena lowers her voice. "But what if he wants us to listen, not just build?" Tarak laughs loudly, shaking his head. "Listen? The world listens to those who rise the highest." His voice echoes against the stone walls. Lena looks down, whispering a quiet prayer, but Tarak's laughter fills the silence, deep, echoing, proud. Even the wind seems to hold its breath. Days pass. The tower grows higher, but the laughter fades. The air feels heavy, filled with smoke from the kilns. Nimra notices people arguing, builders shouting over whose bricks are strongest, leaders fighting over whose section is tallest. The once happy songs turn sharp. Lena watches two men drop a load of clay and storm away. "They were friends yesterday," she whispers sadly. Nimra kicks the sand. "Why is everyone so angry?" In the distance, Elder Tarak glares down from the tower's ledge, his eyes dark with pride. The wind blows harder that day. The clouds gather lower, grumbling softly, like a warning no one hears. That night, Nimra sneaks close to the tower. He kneels and runs his fingers along a deep crack in one of the lower stones. "It's breaking," he whispers. The air feels cold. Lena joins him, clutching her small lamp. Maybe. The tower's heart is tired," she says softly. They listen. The tower groans in the wind, as if breathing. "Should we tell Elder Tarak?" Nimra asks. Lena shakes her head. "He won't listen." He only sees the top. The lamp flickers, shadows dancing across their faces. Above them, the wind whistles through the tower's hollow spaces, sounding almost like a sigh or a voice. The children look at each other. For the first time, they both feel it. Something is coming. The next morning, the tower pierces the clouds. Shadows crawl across the city as the sun hides behind heavy gray mist. Nimra hauls bricks up the scaffolding, his arms trembling from work. The air feels thick, heavy with dust. Lena looks up nervously. "It feels different today," she murmurs. Above, Elder Tarek shouts, "Faster, higher! We must reach the heavens." His voice booms across the desert, but the sky stays silent. Suddenly, thunder rumbles. The workers pause, startled. Nimra grips a wooden beam, heart-pounding. "Maybe. We've climbed too high," he whispers. Lena grabs his hand. "Maybe God is trying to tell us something." The wind howls through the tower's hollow walls, deep and haunting, as if heaven itself is speaking through the storm. By midday, strange things begin to happen. The birds that once nested in the tower's crevices suddenly burst into flight. Lena watches them circle frantically, calling out in shrill cries. "They're leaving," she gasps. Nimra drops his trowel, staring upward as hundreds of wings fill the sky. "Why would they go?" he asks. "Because they know," Lena whispers. "They can feel what we don't." A moment later, one tiny feather floats down, landing in Nimra's hand. He looks at it quietly. "Maybe," he says slowly. "They know something's coming." The tower creaks again, louder, longer, like a sigh from the heavens. The next day, Elder Tarak climbs the tower's upper stairs, smiling proudly. But as he steps forward, a brick beneath his foot cracks. The sound echoes like thunder. He stumbles, catching himself on a wooden beam. "Fix that!" he growls. Workers rush to obey, but the crack spreads slowly along the wall. Far below, Nimra and Lena hear the noise. "Did you hear that?" Lena whispers. "It's just a stone," Nimra says, but his voice wavers. They watch dust fall like tiny sparks of light. For the first time, Tarek looks uneasy. He glances at the dark clouds gathering again. "Stronger clay," he mutters. "We will build higher, no matter what it takes." But the sky rumbles once more, low and warning. That night, Nimra and Lena slip away to the quiet river that runs beside the city. The moonlight shimmers across the water. Nimra whispers, "What if God really is upset with us?" She kneels beside him, dipping her fingers into the rippling stream. "Then we must pray," she says simply. They close their eyes. "God," Lena says softly, "please, show us what's right." The wind stills. The sound of the river becomes gentle, almost like a heartbeat. Nimra opens his eyes and sees their reflections trembling in the water. Two small faces under a vast, endless sky. He feels something peaceful, something kind. "Maybe," he says, "he is still listening." The next dawn, the workers gather, but no birds sing. The air is still, too still. Nimra stands with his hands covered in clay, glancing toward the sky. "It's quiet," he whispers. Lena nods slowly. The world is waiting. Elder Tarak lifts his arms toward the tower. "Work," he commands. "We will finish it today." His voice breaks the silence, but the echo sounds strange, hollow. A small tremor shakes the ground. Buckets rattle. Dust falls from the tower's edge. Nimra grabs Lena's hand. "Did you feel that?" He gasps. Lena nods, her eyes wide. Above them, the clouds churn, folding into strange patterns like swirling hands. Something unseen stirs in the heavens. The sun rises red over the desert. Dust glows like firelight around the tower. Workers shout to one another, but their words sound strange, twisted, unfamiliar. Nimra looks up from his pile of bricks, confused. A man beside him yells, "Hand me the rope," but the other man only stares back blankly. "What did you say?" The shouting spreads. Panic ripples through the crowd. Lena runs to Nimra, eyes wide. "Why are they arguing?" she cries. Nimra tries to call out to her, but the words come out wrong. Strange sounds he doesn't recognize. He claps his hands over his mouth, terrified. "Lena," he gasps. But she can't understand him either. The air fills with the roar of confusion. Hundreds of voices, all speaking, none hearing. The tower that once brought unity now trembles with noise and fear. Elder Tarak storms through the crowd. "Stop this madness," he shouts, but even his strongest men stare at him blankly. "Lift the stone. The stone," he yells, pointing, but they shrug, muttering in strange sounds. His face reddens. "Can't you hear me?" he roars. No answer makes sense. A worker brings clay instead of bricks. Another walks away in tears. The rhythm that once built greatness now breaks apart into confusion. From a distance, Nimra and Lena watch in shock. "They can't understand one another," Lena whispers. Nimra nods, eyes wet. It's like their words have melted. The sound rises. A storm of tongues. Above, a soft light shines through the clouds, as if heaven is both sorrowful and kind. The wind begins to blow harder, not from one direction but all around. It whirls through the city, scattering straw and dust, lifting tarps from scaffolds. Nimra grabs Lena's hand as the wind whips their clothes. It's the same wind that spoke before. Lena shouts over the roar. They look up. The tower seems to shimmer, almost glowing from within. The voices blend into a wild, beautiful sound. Like 100 songs at once, Elder Tarak drops to his knees, eyes wide. "No," he whispers, "our work, our name." But even as the confusion spreads, a strange peace fills the children's hearts. Maybe this isn't the end. Maybe it's God's way of starting again. Nimra nods, gripping her hand tightly as the wind swirls in radiant light. Hours pass, and the noise slowly fades. The people stop shouting. No one can understand the other, so the work halts. The tower stands, proud but broken, half-finished and strangely quiet. Nimra and Lena walk through the empty site, stepping over fallen tools and shattered bricks. "It feels empty," Nimra says softly. Lena looks up at the towering walls. "It's not empty," she replies. "It's listening." A single brick tumbles down, cracking against the ground. Dust rises, glowing in the evening sun. "God stopped us," Lena says, her voice calm. "But maybe to help us remember him again." Nimra nods slowly, gazing at the silent tower. Then maybe he hasn't left us. He's just changing our story. Morning returns. The city is scattered, groups of people packing their things, speaking in strange new ways. Nimra and Lena wander among them, listening. Though they cannot understand the words, they hear laughter. Families wave to one another, pointing toward different lands. Elder Tarak stands by the broken base, silent at last. He looks at the children. "Perhaps," he says slowly, "we built too high and forgot to look within." Then he turns and walks away, his voice lost in the wind. Nimra watches the people move out across the horizon. "Lena," he says, smiling faintly, "maybe this isn't confusion. Maybe it's a new beginning." She nods. A world full of new words, new hearts, and one God. The ground trembles softly under Nimra's feet. He looks up and gasps. Cracks slither like lightning down the side of the tower. The once straight walls bend and groan. "Lena!" he shouts, pulling her back from the scaffolding. Lena clutches his arm, her curls whipping in the wind. "It's falling!" she cries. Workers scatter in every direction, calling out in their new, jumbled languages. Dust fills the air like smoke. Elder Tarak stands frozen, staring up in disbelief. "No, not my tower," he whispers. The sound is almost lost in the thunder of collapsing stone. As the top begins to break away, Nimra shields Lena with his arms. The roar fills the valley, deep, echoing, final. Then, silence. When the rumbling stops, only dust remains, thick and glowing like fog. Nimra coughs, blinking through the haze. The tower's shadow is gone. Lena wipes her eyes. "It's all gone," she whispers. Nimra nods slowly. "But we're still here." From the fog, figures begin to appear. Families, builders, mothers holding children, all covered in dust, all silent. Then, softly, one begins to hum. Another joins. Though their words differ, their hearts move the same. Elder Tarak kneels on the cracked earth. "We built without you," he says quietly. Tears tracing lines in the dust on his face. The wind carries his words upward. Not as a shout, but a prayer. The noise of the fall fades, leaving only silence. The kind that feels alive. Nimra walks through the rubble, his bare feet brushing against cold stone. He hears the wind move softly between the ruins, whispering like a sigh. "Lena," he says, "do you think God is angry?" She looks around. The broken walls, the people helping one another, the birds circling overhead. "No," she says slowly. "I sing these sad." But maybe he's glad we're finally listening. Nimra picks up a small stone, smooth and warm from the sun. "Then, maybe this isn't a broken tower," he says. "Maybe it's a broken heart. And hearts can heal." The people begin to leave. Some head north, others east. They carry their tools, their children, their hope. The city that once buzzed with pride now hums with gentle goodbyes. Nimra watches as Elder Tarak speaks to a few men in his new tongue, gestures slow and kind. "He's changed," Lena whispers. Tarak walks to them, placing a hand on Nimra's shoulder. "Keep your eyes on heaven," he says softly, his voice thick with emotion. "But remember, heaven is in your heart first." Then he turns and joins the travelers. Nimra and Lena watch until his figure disappears over the hills. The tower stands behind them, broken but bathed in sunlight. Evening falls. Nimra and Lena climb a small hill overlooking the valley. Below them, the people spread out like stars across the land, each group heading toward a new beginning. The broken tower glows faintly in the fading light, now only a memory of stone. "Do you think they'll ever come back?" Nimra asks. Lena smiles. "Maybe not here, but someday maybe God will bring all languages, all hearts together again." She gazes up at the first star, appearing in the sky. "Until then, we listen, we love, and we start again." The camera rises with them, lifting above the land. One world, many voices, all under one God. The land stretches wide and endless under a blue morning sky. Nimra and Lena walk hand in hand along a dirt path leading away from Shinar. The wind carries the scent of wild grass and the songs of distant travelers. Behind them, the ruins of the great tower fade into golden dust. Lena turns and looks back one last time. "Do you think God's sad that it's gone?" she asks. Nimra shakes his head softly. Maybe he's glad we're finally moving. They walk on, their shadows long across the earth. For the first time, the world feels huge. Not frightening, but full of promise. Birds wheel overhead, their calls echoing across the hills, as if cheering them on toward the unknown. That evening they reach a camp where travelers from every direction have gathered. Fires flicker in circles and voices fill the air. Strange, beautiful words that neither child understands. Yet, laughter rings clear. Lena smiles. They all sound different, but they're still smiling. Nimra nods. Maybe we don't need the same words to share joy. A little girl from another family runs up, handing Lena a piece of bread. Lena smiles and breaks it in half, offering it back. They laugh together. No words, just kindness. Somewhere beyond the camp, a new language is born, and with it, a new world of friendship. The next day, they stop by a wide river shimmering under the sunlight. Nimra kneels to fill his water pouch, watching the ripples flow outward. The river keeps moving, he says quietly. It doesn't stay in one place. Maybe that's what God wants for us. Lena kneels beside him, her reflection dancing beside his. To move and bring life wherever we go, she adds. They cup the cool water and drink, laughing as droplets sparkle on their cheeks. The river murmurs softly, winding through fields toward the horizon. Its sound feels like a song, one of peace, forgiveness, and the promise of new beginnings. By dusk, they reach the foot of a mountain painted with red and orange stone. Groups of travelers climb its winding paths, carrying baskets and banners. Nimra stops to watch the sunset blaze across the cliffs. Look, he whispers. Every color is different, but together they make something beautiful. Lena nods, her eyes wide. Just like us. They climb higher, feeling the cool air brush their faces. Below them, people from every tribe spread out across valleys, their tents forming tiny dots of color in the fading light. Maybe, Lena says softly, God wanted the world to look like this all along. Full of colors, full of voices. That night, the children camp beneath a sky filled with stars. The air is cool and still. Nimra lies on his back, hands behind his head. Lena, he says, do you think God still hears everyone now that we all speak differently? Lena smiles, pointing upward. See those stars? They shine in every land. God's light doesn't need words. They fall silent, staring at the endless sky. For a moment, Nimra imagines each star as a voice. Every person, every family. Then we were still one, just spread out. Morning spills gold across the hills. Nimra and Lena wake to the warmth of sunlight, brushing their faces. Below, they see rivers winding like silver ribbons and green valleys blooming with flowers. Families walk across the plains, each heading toward their new homes. Look, Lena whispers, pointing at the horizon. It's like the world is being born again. Nimra smiles, his eyes shining. Each step is a beginning. Birds glide across the sky, their wings glowing in the light. The tower is far behind them now, only a faint shape on the horizon. The air feels new, clean, alive. The children breathe deeply, hearts full of wonder at what lies ahead. Later that day, they pass through a meadow alive with sound. Farmers hum in one tongue, children sing in another. The songs mix together like colors in the wind. Nimra laughs, clapping along to a rhythm he doesn't understand. Lena spins in the tall grass, her laughter joining the music. A woman nearby smiles, handing them sweet fruit. She speaks gently in her own language. Though they don't know her words, they know her kindness. Nimra grins, See? God found a way for us to still talk. With our hearts. The meadow glows under the sun, and every sound, every face, feels like a celebration of life itself. As evening nears, Nimra and Lena stop by a field where travelers are planting seeds. What are they doing? Nimra asks. An old man smiles kindly, answering in a language they can't understand. But his gesture says enough. He presses a small seed into Nimra's hand. Nimra kneels and places it gently into the soil. Lena pats the earth beside him. Even after things fall apart, she says softly, God helps us grow again. The sun sets in crimson and gold, bathing the fields in light. A single sprout breaks through the ground, tiny but strong. The children watch it sway in the breeze, a living promise that every ending brings new life. That night, they sit by a campfire. The stars are bright again, endless and familiar. Lena looks up. Do you think anyone will remember the tower? She asks. Nimra pokes the fire with a stick. Maybe. But not for how tall it was. They'll remember what we learned. He glances at her and smiles. That we don't need to reach heaven, because heaven reaches down to us. The fire crackles softly. In the distance, children from different groups laugh and share food. The tower may have fallen, but something far stronger now stands. A world where hearts, not bricks, build connection. Morning comes quietly. Nimra and Lena stand on a hill, the wind brushing their faces. The horizon stretches endlessly. Fields, forests, rivers, mountains, all waiting to be filled with life. So this is it, Nimra says. The whole world. Lena smiles. God didn't break us apart. He sent us out. She closes her eyes as sunlight warms her face. Maybe someday, all our voices will meet again. They take one last look toward the rising sun. The sky glows with color, and their laughter rings out across the valley. One story has ended, but the story of the world has just begun.